Hello guys, welcome back to the Rangers Rabble Podcast for the Rangers Rabble Network. Myself, Kenny and Alan, you'll know the faces well. Just giving you a wee post-match reaction on what we saw and how we saw it today. I did think Rangers were a lot better today. I think their passing and movement were a lot better than they've ever been for a long time. I did think it was quite nervy to begin with. Alan, I'll just ask you, the first maybe, 5-10 minutes, it was a wee bit stuttery, it was a wee bit shaky. How did you see it?
Certainly the first few minutes I was quite worried. We were really struggling to get out of our own box, let alone our own half. I thought we started poor, but I was never too worried by what Kilmarnock were offering. The number 9 caused us a couple of problems, but we looked at least comfortable in defence, if not on the ball. But as the game went on, it was a bit patchy, it was a bit bitty, but we did start to grow into it a wee bit and taking a bit of control of the game.
100% agree with you. I think sometimes the right wing and the left wing, I think they were getting down our flanks. I think Giga and Fernandez are starting to grow together. I think you'll agree. Slowly, there is a couple of mistakes still, but I feel that Connor Barron seemed to give them more confidence. He was everywhere today, wasn't he?
I think Connor Barron's been the standout along with Nadim Barami in the last 3 games. Connor Barron's been excellent. He's covered every blade of grass, be it natural grass or artificial.
He seems to have flourished under Danny Rule, didn't he?
Definitely has, but at an early blow, Kenny obviously with Barami pulling his hamstring and going off, but it did mean we get a chance to see Finlay Curtis, and everybody's been desperate to see Finlay Curtis, so
yep.
You'd be quite happy seeing that.
I was, and I think in the podcast we've all been screaming to see the Scottish talent coming up and through as well. So we managed to stutter our way through to a certain 33rd minute. The ball breaks out to Bojan, and clinical finish or toe poke, Alan?
It was clinical.
It doesn't matter, obviously. But
listen, it was clinical. We were asking guys to take more shots and goal, and he took a shot early. I think caught the keeper out, but it's going for nearly the edge of the box. Yeah. Really important to get the first goal. I said it before the game. We needed to score first. We were saying it just no long before that goal. We were possibly going to be in trouble if we didn't score first. So first goal's massive, and it gave us something to build on.
It definitely did. Now after the first goal, you're thinking, okay, we're scoring a little bit early before half time, but we didn't seem to click up to that second or third gear, did we? It seemed to be sometimes Kilmarnock were still getting into us. We were a bit nervy at the back. We did see the best of Barron mopping up at that time, didn't we, between maybe 33rd minute and half time, and we started to see a bit more of what was going to come in the second half with Barron mopping up. Maybe if Fernandez needed a hand or Giga needed a hand. How did you see that 10-minute spell?
I think what I expected before the game, we had more balance at the back, because Max Arns doesn't want to come in field quite as much as Tav does, so with a natural sort of flat sort of shape at the back, and that really helped. Sometimes it's still too guilty attacking balls that we can't win, and it's kind of leaving space in behind, but I think they're starting to get better as they get a better understanding.
100%. So obviously we're getting into half time, we're obviously looking for that second goal. Now, as I said before, when the second goal went in, especially considering the first goal we didn't really click on, I feel we started getting a lot better after the second goal. Do you think so?
I think the second goal went in, there was a massive weight lifted off his shoulders, particularly Miovski getting it. He's struggled for goals since he came in, and we expected goals from Miovski, but for him to get a second goal, and it was a really good goal. It's not just about scoring, but it was a really, really good move, and Miovski just gave the keeper the eyes, just passed it in. He sat the keeper down, just passed it in at the near post. Absolutely brilliant goal, and one we were absolutely delighted to see.
I think so. I also say, but see, to be honest with you, I think at the end of the day we saw a couple of different things, didn't we? There was movement off the ball to get Miovski into the space to take the shot. Usually if that was a poor Rangers team, they would be all over us, they'd be man marking us, they'd be out with us. Because of the movement in the ball, you always seem to think that the players were getting more space, and you could see that with Miovski's second goal, couldn't you?
Oh, definitely, and I think that what you saw with the pressure coming off after the second goal, the team really started to play. We started to move the ball about with pace, we started to move the ball about with a lot more purpose. There was more energy and it runs off the ball. And what we were talking about before the game, a bit less pressure playing away from home. Now we need to go and be able to learn how to take that back to Ibrox and play with that sort of intensity.
Now, we've seen Finlay Curtis coming on as you alluded to there. We also seen Finlay Curtis coming off as a substitute. I just want your brief quick feeling on that. What was your thoughts on that?
That really annoys me, seeing a sub being subbed if he's playing well, and I thought Finlay Curtis was doing some really good work. He was working hard defensively, he was causing them problems down the wings, you know, so he was certainly contributing to the game. So unless he's picked up or not, that's a very bold gamble by Danny Rule, you know, and we'll need to see his man management really step up, because that's the sort of move that can destroy a young boy. So I think Finlay Curtis is a very strong-willed young boy, but
had a not a bad game, did he? When we did see them.
Yeah, that certainly was a bold move, but it's a move that paid off, Kenny.
We were talking about that just off camera, weren't we? But the fact that, yes, it might have been Danny, because he's very analytical, as we've heard that he says, you know, and this is when his man management skills has to come in. When he pulls a sub on or pulls him back off again, he has to have that man management to say, listen, it's because of X, Y and Z. And that X, Y and Z was Mikey Moore, who I felt changed the game on that side. I don't know what you think yourself.
Yeah, Mikey Moore, we were talking pre-match that Mikey Moore had been playing really well up to his injury, so he's not been out for too long, but we definitely missed him. And Mikey Moore came in and just picked up from where he left off. You know, he was electric, he was taking players on, his touch was good, you know, he was sharp, you know, his pace was there, and his intensity was there. You know, Mikey Moore picked up the ball and wanted to do damage to that defence.
He did.
And that's exactly what he did.
And also when he was starting to take players on and be positive as well, I'm sure you'll agree that other players started to do it. They were doing it higher up the park, they were running off the top of them. They were starting to all play as a unit, which we've not seen really, Alan, for a long time. And the third goal epitomised that, did it not?
It did, you know, some really good work down the right hand side by Max Ernst. He didn't get the cross in, but he fought, kept the ball alive. We worked the ball across the park and it went back a wee bit, but eventually Mikey Moore picked it up and he just strode past right into the middle of Kilmarnock defence and just passed it into the net. And that's what I loved about the finishes today. You know, they were composed. You know, we've literally passed three into the net, and you know that's the sort of composure that will bring a lot of confidence to the team.
Yep, and we have been saying, listen, take shots more outside the box, but when the likes of Mikey come on, you could see there was more movement and fluidity by going forward. We weren't just trying to move forward, we were getting past them. Now, don't get me wrong, we're talking about all the things that came our way. There was a few scary moments at the back as well, where there was a long ball or a through ball from Kilmarnock, because they did cause us some issues, didn't they?
They did. I think they caused less issues maybe when we've seen teams in the last couple of games causes, but certainly there was one or two penalty shouts. It was hard to see for the opposite end of the ground, but you know, it'll be interesting to see him back and see where we've rode a lot like we have in recent games, or where or not the officials actually got it right.
Exactly, I think as Alan's telling you, we were behind the goal at the other far away when some of the decisions were being made. But the one we did see was the Mikey Moore offside. Did you manage to, I mean, again, we're kind of behind, we can't really see. How did you see that? Did you think that was maybe it'd be nice to see it back, wouldn't it?
For the disallowed goal?
Yes.
I believe it wasn't offside, it was a foul they were looking for in the build-up.
Okay.
The tannoy wasn't very clear, but
no,
I'm pretty certain it was a foul, because no danger Mikey Moore was offside. No. So I don't know if it was when Fernandez was striding through. You know, they've gave the foul against Fernandez. I suspect that's what it was, but really unfortunate, because another outstanding goal for Mikey Moore to be so wide and clip the keeper and score for the angle he did was take nothing away from the boy. That was a tremendous finish, even though it's not counted.
Yeah. So in regards to the Barami situation, a couple of wee niggles we had as well, didn't we? We had one with Fernandez and a couple of players going down and back up. It's more imperative now, isn't it, that January's got to be important. It's got to be even to grow the squad, because if we do what we can do, we've showed we can do, if we win the next game, we're obviously going to be third. We're going to be challenging. You don't know what these two teams are going to do when they play one another tomorrow, Celtic and Hearts. I do feel there is something going to twist and turn this season. I think none of us have been amazingly great. So would you say that January now, because of what we saw with injuries and the niggles, is even more important than we thought it was in the first place?
No, because I think if it was more important after tonight, then we wouldn't have taken it seriously enough before tonight. You know, I think the squad's unbalanced and it's overweight in some places. You know, it needs trimmed in certain areas of the team, but it certainly needs bulked up in others. You know, I think we were left with an imbalanced squad, and when you change so many players in the summer, you're always going to run a risk of the squad not being well enough balanced. But I think January is massive, especially if Danny Rowell's going to get a right good shot and give us a right good chance going into the second half of the season.
Yep, totally agree. Great comments. And just to wrap up, obviously Thael Asgard doesn't get a shot. Are you agreement with me that wasn't the game for him? He wasn't going to find, you know, that he always holds the ball a wee bit too long, or he's looking for the pass a wee bit too short. Was that not the type of game, and do we give Danny Rowell credit for that's not the type of game he has to get into, do you think? Or what's your thoughts on it?
I don't necessarily think it wasn't a game for Thael Asgard. I think it was a game for the guys that came on, because I think the guys that came on did make a difference. I'm a wee bit surprised Danilo came on ahead of Asgard, to be honest. Or going two strikers and playing Danilo deep. I'd probably have seen Asgard on for his physicality, but everybody worked well and made an impression when he came on. So, you know, I think Asgard will get plenty of chances. I think he could have thrived, especially as we went 2 and 3 goals up with the movement in the team.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it was more just the guys that came on done well.
Do you think the Danilo substitution was one eye from Danny on the goal difference and thinking we could get, obviously if we went and got the 4 or above, you're either going to go straight into that position third, or you're going to sit joint, or you're going to be just under them again? Do you think when we were up 3 he was thinking, right, Danilo on, more attacking? Possibly?
No, I think he was just trying to make sure we kept control of the game. I don't think Danny Rowell will be looking at goal difference in positions right now. I think he'll be concentrating on just getting us consistently putting 3 points on the board, because 3 points, 3 goals, a clean sheet, you know, that I think great job, considering we didn't play well in the first half especially.
If you think considering where we came from,
yeah.
We've got to remember as Rangers fans that how bad it really was before he came in the door, and where we're kind of starting to steady the ship slightly.
Yeah, listen, performances aren't anywhere near where we want to see him, but you know, he's dropped 4 points in the league since he came in, and that's been the last couple of games, so we're getting a wee bit of consistency with results. You know, we certainly need the performances to improve, we certainly need to cut out the mistakes, but there's signs to build on, and I think apart from the clean sheet and the 3 points, the biggest thing was Miovski getting 2 goals and Mikey Moore coming back and getting on the score sheet.
Yeah. So, and finally, before we wrap it up, right, I'm going to throw it to you, the man of the match, for your point of view.
Connor Barn, very easy choice.
Totally agree.
As much as Mikey Moore's made a massive impact, he's not been on the park long enough to take that away, but Connor Barnes been excellent, especially the last few weeks. And Connor Barnes had to work hard for that for him, because he started the season really poorly.
You're right.
And he certainly wasn't alone, so I wouldn't pick Connor Barnes out and single him out for that, but Connor Barnes really stepping up right now, and I want to see more of that for Connor Barnes, and Connor Barnes will go on and become a mainstay, not just in this team but in the Scotland squad if he continues on that sort of trajectory.
Very bold statement, brilliant. Right, okay folks, that's us for tonight and your reaction. Please can you like, click, subscribe to the Rangers Rabble Network. It's a great family, it's a family show, it's full of banter, it's full of seriousness, it's got everything you really need. There's so many shows and so much content that we can offer now. Just even give it a nosy and be part of the Rabble family. Enjoy the rest of your evening. From Alan, myself, a very good night, and we'll speak very, very soon.